In this episode 101 of the Encourage and Inspired podcast, I'm joined by London Elixir. Today we're sitting down with an absolute powerhouse music production and sync licensing, the one and only London Elixir. If you've ever wondered what it takes to break through in the music industry, to transform your passion into a career that truly resonates, this episode is your blueprint. London isn't just another producer, she's a storyteller, a trailblazer who's navigating the complex world of music with the incredible grace and fierce determination. From her groundbreaking work in sync licensing to her experiences as a female producer, reshaping the industry's landscape, she's got stories that will inspire, challenge, and completely reframe your understanding of musical success. We're going to explore the intersection of creativity and commerce, unpack the strategies that have propelled her career, and give you a raw, unfiltered look into what it takes to really make your mark. Get ready for an episode that's part masterclass, part inspiration, and pure magic. Episode 101 starts now. Hope you guys enjoy this episode. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Encourage and Inspire podcast. It's episode 101. And I've got a special guest, special friend with me that we recently got connected at a music conference. The homie DJ London Elixir, who is
Hey,
hey, she is a producer. Most importantly, she is really heavily involved in the sync part of the music industry. So we're gonna get into talk about that. She's doing some amazing things. So I knew once we got a chance to connect. Shout out to my guy, my big bro Gene Culver. That was able to create a platform for us to connect. So I mean, it's always a pleasure.
absolutely.
For sure, for sure. Cool. So I always kind of like to ask this question. Like what made you kind of fall in love with music? When you're like, yo, this is what I want to do. I know I want to like make this into a career. Like,
Yeah, I was first introduced into music production specifically when I was like a freshman in high school.
mm-hmm.
Cause like prior to that, I had taken piano lessons. Like, so I was always, I think I knew I liked music, like from the time I was a kid. When they gave us recorders in third grade, I just
Yeah,
knew, like, yep, I
yeah,
want to do this. But when I seen what production was, I was like, oh, I definitely want to make this a career. So yeah, it was just something about like starting from nothing and then adding drums and like because I had a piano background, but that's just the melody. You don't know about adding the drums and everything,
right,
and it all comes together. Like that was
right.
it for me.
No, for sure, because I think that you don't see a lot of female music producers. It's
Yeah,
very small number. Very,
yeah,
I think it's 2%. And actually somewhere around 2 to 5% of producers. And producers are, because we think about it from the perspective of yes, producers make the beat, but a true producer is one of the ministers to record. You know what I'm saying?
exactly,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
So people think, so you don't have to be the person that makes the tracks to be considered the producer. You could hire the musicians,
Mm-hmm.
all the kinds of things, but we won't get too deep in the weeds with that. But
No, it is a difference in like
yeah,
producing and beat making for
no,
sure.
for sure.
Like when
Like,
I think of production, I think of the person who sees the vision from
yeah,
start to finish. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Like beat makers, they could just make the beat, pass it off, and be done. But
yeah,
producer going to be in there with the mixing and mastering, the artist selection,
right,
rearranging the song. Like that's a producer.
for sure. And we only kind of use that beat make thing when it comes to urban. Let's be real, because we don't do that in other genres. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like when
Hmm.
it comes to kind of what's called a black music, it's what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
you know, that's kind of where we kind of use the term beat maker. You know what I'm saying? Because and they don't do that in rock, in country, and some others in Latin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't really hear that term. Only really hear it in kind of the space that if you are predominantly in the urban space, you're gonna hear that term you know, kind of tossed around a lot, you know.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
For sure, for sure. So, you became, so let's talk about the DJ and stuff. So you came like we're gonna jump around. So like we just kind of talking, right? Like I like to just kind of go with the vibe.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so like talk to me about how you became like a viral DJ. Like
Man, that story is so crazy.
yeah.
So, I started DJing a few years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I got my first residency. I did that for like a year, as well as like doing weddings, corporate events, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I stopped doing a residency that I was at, and I was like, well, I'm still relatively fresh to DJing. I have been producing for a long time, so like DJing kind of came naturally to me. But I was like, let me keep getting my reps in. I'm gonna just start going live on TikTok practicing. I wasn't trying to be viral. I literally was like, I want to practice. I might as well be on live because, content, how we are in this day and age. So I just went on there one day last summer, in June, actually. So we coming up on the 1 year mark of when I first started going live on TikTok DJing.
Okay.
And I was on there for 30 minutes, and it was like 800 people in there or something. And I was like, oh, that's a lot of people, like they give you the little stats at the end of the video. So I was like, let me do it again tomorrow. And then I went on there, it was like a few thousand. And I was like, dang, like that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. That's
And
not normal.
then
Yeah.
I went on there the next day. Like the third time I went live, it was like 20,000 people in there. And at that moment, I was like, oh, this is turning into something
Right.
crazy,
Right. Right.
So, I mean, before you know it, I went from like 6,000 followers on TikTok to like over 60,000 in the matter of a summer. And, you get paid from that. Like people could send you gifts on there. People might cash app you, like all types of stuff. Like it was like a very quick like rise. And I mean, I'm really grateful for it, but it was nothing I planned. It was fun though.
No, that's what's up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, no. I mean, I mean, it is so different now to with the opportunities that social media can give to people. But I'm not a heavy TikTok guy. I probably should be, because what I do is I'm in the education space, right? Like and teaching,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like that's the number one thing that most creatives kind of lack is the education part of the space because entertainment is not a regulated industry, meaning you don't have to get certified to be in the industry. So you got people who come into the space without no proper knowledge and training and then want to know why they don't
Mm-hmm.
get to a certain level or why certain things happen because they haven't learned what is required to be learned in order to be successful on the space, right? So I think
Absolutely.
so you got a lot of people who just really don't really have any business doing this as a profession because it's just hard. I tell people all the time, man, like if you just want to make money, there's way easier things to do in life.
Yeah, I like anytime somebody like comes to me, like, cause they see what I'm doing, I think they think it's something else going on. And I'm like,
Yeah,
y'all, like, they come to me like, oh, I'm trying to get on this music stuff like you. Like, I'm trying to get some money. And I'm like, if you just trying to get some money, you might as well go do something else. Cause
yeah,
all the stuff that you about to have to do, like
yeah,
to make some money in music,
yeah.
yeah, you might as well just go do something else. Go drive Uber. Like that's
Right,
quicker. You know what I'm
right. No,
saying?
that's
Like
real
just go
talk.
get
No,
directly to the money. If that's
I
your goal, you
yeah.
gotta really love music to
You
be in
got
it.
to, and then, in my case, working with independent artists at the ground level who don't have nothing. I mean, I hear every excuse in the book, everything. I just lost two clients just because life happens. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? And then what do you want to do? Get mad?
Right.
you
That's
know?
and that's the life of an entrepreneur. Like,
Yeah,
you just gotta keep adjusting. And then
mm-hmm.
like your business, like just because things go on doesn't change the fact that you're running your business. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
so now you, for example, the example you just gave, you just lost two clients. Like you said, you can't cry about it. You just gotta figure out how you're gonna make that money up in a different area now.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
but people don't want to put that type of effort in. People don't want to put that type of thought into running a business. That's why
yeah,
I'm like, if you trying to get some money, go work for somebody who is putting that type of thought into running their business. So
yeah.
you don't got to think about it. Like you
Oh,
just go work
fact.
for somebody else who's doing it
No,
because
that's facts. That's facts. Because I think a lot of people they just think that this is easy. Like they just and they only see one. If you're talking about the corporate music industry, you're only seeing 1% of the industry. So
mm-hmm,
what happens? Where's the other 99% at? They're here, but somebody gave me a number a few years ago. There's about 9 million artists across the world that consider themselves professional. 9 million. So
mm,
think about the case. There's three. There's where was it? We have three. what do we have? Uh, 9 billion people on the planet, roughly 300 million Americans.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And the 9 million people across the world is a professional artist, and less than 10,000 people are signed to some kind of subsidiary of any, for whether it become a major label or independent label. The odds of you being signed to an entity, according to those numbers, is slim to
Yeah.
none. You
Yep.
know,
And getting signed isn't even always the greatest opportunity.
exactly,
You're not reading
exactly.
your contracts. You don't know what you're signing up for. Like,
Exactly, exactly. So a lot of times, the business part of it, people don't want to deal with
uh,
because it's creative people, and also too, let's be real, creative people didn't get into the business to become marketers.
listen.
You know what I'm saying, and that's the hardest part because at least what I run into is that there's a lot of especially on Instagram, social media, everybody's ads look great.
Yeah.
They look really, really awesome, right? So
Yeah.
you can put together, but then it's like, okay, but who do you know who to believe? Like, who do you know who to believe and trust? And people feel like they've been scammed every which way since Sunday, so they don't know who to be like. Okay, I believe in you. So it's almost like you know, you, like you got to spend time even with me. Like when I run my particular ad for what I call the music exposure campaign, and really what that's for is just to really generate leads. Because I'm really, like I said, I'm really a coach. So it's like, but I understand that everybody's going to want to come in and hire me on my retainer for that. My retainer is fair.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But not everybody's going to want to come in and like do that right away versus they'll spend money with me one time and build a. So I just, because I understand how independent artists think. I get how, I'm sure you just said, wait, you understand how they think.
Yeah.
So like, it's more of, you know, I can give it to them at this number and it shouldn't scare them. But we know how when they look at the number, they freak out.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those. So I know for me, when I'm running my ads, it's like people are interested in. I gotta time to pre-qualify you because I don't want to have endless meetings just
Yeah.
to have my calendar filled up with people who aren't serious. And then it's like the other day, like I had a guy that reached out to me, really cool, more like an inspirational gospel type of sound.
Okay.
Even though I'm really not in the gospel world, that's not really my world, because that's a whole different space.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't have like, and I have colleagues that work in that space, but I'm really more in the R&B, hip hop, soul, you know, pop
Hmm.
world, But luckily, when you have a global network, you can kind of maneuver.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like, okay, um, but then you have another meeting. He brings his manager on. It's like, yeah, but we don't got the money. Like, we really don't got the money. You could tell they're trying to find ways to like get around. I want to give me what my feet like. Give me what my number is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? And so it'd be like that. You
It
know?
be like that, but and like that's I feel like I deal with that even with the DJing side of
Okay.
things. Like sometimes like people don't want to pay the fee to DJ. And like one thing also as an entrepreneur, you just gotta realize like everybody ain't your client. Like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Like that's how I just be like, yeah, I don't do too much back and forth about the price because it's like I know this price is fair, like you said. So
Yeah.
either you have it or you don't or you're close and maybe I work with you. But if you're not even close, like
Right.
I'm not,
And people don't realize when it comes to DJing, especially like what goes into that. It's not just showing up and doing the gig. You got to do a lot of things. I remember I watched this
it's a
one
lot of
video.
preparation.
A lot, yeah, it is. Just to do one event is a lot of prep. There's a lot of prep that the average person does not see. They just think
Yeah.
they just think you just show up
Wing
and
it.
and yeah, it doesn't work like that. Like
No.
you gotta prospect the venue out. You gotta check the venue. Like there's a lot of things you gotta do.
Yeah.
You know.
Literally, like I'm doing a wedding next month, and the way that their venue is laid out, everything is in a different space. So
Mm-hmm.
now, like in addition to what I already would normally do, I have to order an additional speaker to
Mm-hmm.
have, you know what I'm saying? So like that's more money that I'm investing, more time
Mm-hmm.
that I'm spending, more stuff to carry on the day of. We're
Right.
bringing all of this equipment in.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot. So like when people like have an issue with the price, I just be like, not my client then because
Right.
like the ones who I never have issues with are my best clients. Like
Yeah.
they don't have no extra questions, no extra needs. It's just they pay the money. I get what I need from them. I show up, do a good job, they're happy, they leave me 5-star reviews, and I'm out. Like
Right,
the
right,
people who go back and forth on price got a million questions and concerns and want you to jump through hoops, and it's
right.
just like, and you didn't even pay the price, you know?
Oh,
So,
right. That's crazy. That's ridiculous because people don't realize like what you have to go through in order to um, do the things you do. I mean, for me, having a special need, everything I've done in this industry, I've created. There was no opportunities. You don't really see people with cerebral palsy like myself or any kind of disability doing the things that I've done and earning the respect that I've earned in the toughest industry there probably is to be in.
mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
so I've had to do it from Orlando. It's not necessarily a hub. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, yeah.
because for me, just didn't make sense to be in LA or Atlanta or not any kind of what we consider what the hubs are. Just because for me that would just been a really really difficult. So I had to find a way to make it happen, and it hasn't been easy, but
Mhm.
I found a way to do some pretty cool things. But I definitely understand the grind of it. Um,
Absolutely. And that just speaks to your dedication. You know what I'm saying? Like resilience. Like some people be ready to fold and give up at the
yeah,
slightest adversity. And it's
yeah,
like,
yeah. Look, you're going to face you're going to face adversity in this. Look, and you're going to get burned every once in a while. That's just part of the game. And
absolutely.
you got to be willing to understand like that just comes with it. Like
Yeah.
adversity and bullshit comes with this business. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
as a woman, as a female, let's be real. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
An attractive woman like yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Cats will be. You know,
Yep.
they think with the wrong head. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Let's just be like, look. Let's. It's what it is.
Not
It is. And look, it is what it is, man. So you have to even come different as a woman to be respected because they will try
yeah, absolutely. And
you.
I think that kind of goes along with like how you carry yourself, you know what
Right.
I'm saying, as well. Like when you show up to do a gig or a speaking engagement or whatever it is, like as a woman, you have to present very professional, no
Right.
nonsense.
For
Because
sure.
like you said, people will try. If they think they can, they're gonna try. So
Oh yeah.
yeah,
They gonna try. They definitely
yeah,
gonna try. Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. So yeah, so let's pivot to like what you're kind of doing in the sync. So let's break down kind of what the sync industry is for somebody, people who may not understand or know what you and I know what it is, but
Right, right,
But
right.
kind of let's break it down in the most simplest form, like when it comes to what sync licensing is and why somebody should be interested in even getting into that. Because it is different from being in the music industry. It's not the same.
Yeah, yeah. Sync licensing is basically pairing music to visual media. So that's
Mm-hmm.
getting your music on a TV show, a commercial, advertising, video games kind of fall into the sync world as well. So anytime like there's music somewhere,
Right,
somebody's being paid for
right,
that music that's being played. And
right.
it's something you don't think about when you're sitting at home watching TV and you hear the song come on in the background or the people are dancing at the club and there's a
Yeah,
music, you don't think about that,
right.
but somebody's getting paid for that.
Yeah,
And if you're in the music industry and you create music, why not be the person getting paid for that? You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's like usually there are upfront fees as well as back end.
yeah,
Or sometimes it depends on what you sign, what you agree to.
yeah,
Everything is what you agree to in the music industry. There are
yeah,
standards, and there's what you agree to. And if you sign something, that's on you.
yeah,
So
yeah,
usually you could get paid upfront, and then also on the back end. The cool thing about sync is that you usually retain your rights again, unless if you agree to something else,
yeah,
and you could get paid forever. Like the royalties that come in from your PRO, which is a
yeah,
performing rights organization,
right.
they can just continue to like snowball and like just
Yeah,
keep going forever for
yeah,
show reruns or
yeah.
things like that.
We call that mailbox money.
Exactly.
That's the slang term for that. So
Yeah.
so a
Absolutely.
lot of people, and a lot of times too, the mailbox money or your publishing is how most people retire in the music industry, or
Mm-hmm.
we see people selling their catalogs to these hedge funds and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. A lot of it comes from sync where they're making bringing in those revenue streams and things of that nature. I think going back to education, it requires a different education
Absolutely.
than just being in making songs and trying to get fans. That's one. that's a different
Absolutely.
part of the industry than when coming to the sync world. Because in sync, you're serving the production. I mean, I'm thankfully my mentor Michelle Vice Master. I don't know if you know who she is.
Mm-mm.
Michelle Vice Master. She's been in the biz for 50 years.
Mm.
There's not something she doesn't know hasn't been around. Again, she's one of the two. Talk about female music producers. She's one of the few. I mean, she's written hit songs for everybody. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And when
Mhm.
you've been in the business as long as, but like this, when she got her first placement, they didn't even call it sync license. They just called it back. That was back in 1987. They
Wow.
said, and she said that they just called it putting songs into a movie, and it wasn't even a term called sync yet when she first started doing it, right?
Mhm.
And she's had over 5,000 placements. I mean,
Wow.
yeah, she teaches a course on sync licensing. That,
Hmm.
but yeah, I met her through my colleague Barry Coffin. So I don't know if
Mhm.
you know. So Barry Coffin runs music supervisor. The music supervisor. He's also a singer
Okay.
songwriter as well. He's written 200 songs for film and TV.
Mhm.
And it's interesting because Barry used to write songs for one of my favorite TV shows growing up, California Dreams. Right, that
Okay.
was after Saved by the Bell. I don't remember. I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Saved by the Bell,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So so Barry, I like, and how I met Barry was because he runs a conference called Springboard Music Fest,
Hmm.
where it's a 2 day band, what they call band boot camp, and then the last day, which is the festival, they have like 50 bands or 25 bands coming off, and usually he does it in like Houston, Memphis, San Diego, and he does this. He does it about every 90 days or so. He does a spring. He's done like 25 of these things, and so
Wow.
he'll bring mentors from various parts of the industry. And because he has a background in sync, he has this thing called Moment of Truth, where you play your songs for supervisors, and they'll decide, okay, can this song be synced to kind of tell you what to change it, but kind of like what we did,
Yeah.
at Gene's event. You know what I'm saying? But like, I've been very fortunate to be around people like that have become my friends. Just so, like we said before, when you enter this industry and you get to meet people like my buddy Kipper Jones, that's written all out of Brandy's hits, and people who are like who grew up. Who I grew up listening to, and working out there, my friends, and I'm like, it's just so cool sometimes to be like
Yeah.
that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
when you get a chance to be in the space and again to earn their respect
Mhm.
of what they've done and industry veterans, you know what I'm saying? So, but
Absolutely.
talk to me about the Sink or Swim, the film you created. What kind of inspired that?
Yeah, so Sink or Swim is a film about how I got into sync licensing and how independent artists could do the same. It has music supervisors in there. It's a lot. It's a wealth of information. It has like cutaways where I talk about the business that you need to know. We kind of briefly mentioned like in sync, you have to know the business. That's one of the main differences
Mm,
between being, writing music for sync versus trying to get famous and just
yeah,
do the artist route. In sync, you need to have your business in order to get your
yeah,
songs played. So we talk about all of that, and just how I learned and what I applied and how other people could do the same. So it's called Sink or Swim, Diving Deeper. You guys can watch it on our website for $15. It's basically the $15 goes toward the Sink or Swim experience, which is where we go into high schools and colleges and teach students about sync as well. So it's basically just like when I finally learned about sync, and it took years and research and conferences and panels and learning and all of this stuff. I was like, dang, I wish somebody would have just put all of this in one place and let me watch a movie about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just easy. Like, let me just watch this movie and then I could learn more than, everything. It took me like 3 years to learn. So that's what the film is for. So go check it out if you're thinking about sync.
definitely, definitely. And you've worked with some major brands like Disney, ESPN,
Yeah.
Nike. So, what strategies have you found that kind of most effective in kind of securing all these high profile placements? Because those are some more of the bigger companies that may have some of the bigger checks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So the main thing is really just representing the music properly. I think or a lot of people don't, where they fall short when it comes to trying to get into sync is that they misrepresent their music. And sometimes they do it out of ignorance. Like they just don't even realize I don't own this beat because I didn't produce it and I got it off of YouTube, or
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
only got the lease from BeatStars, or I got the exclusive from BeatStars, but in the BeatStars contract, it says that you have to ask the producer before you could do sync, or you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a lot of things that people don't have an order, or you have your PRO, but you don't know the IPI number, and your co-writer doesn't even have a PRO. So,
Right.
it's just not being organized, not having your music, you know what I'm saying? So those are the things that I've like made sure to be on top of. So that way, when I pitch my music, when they come back and say we want to use it, it's very smooth. Okay, bet everything's in place.
Yeah, no, it's important, about, some terms like a one stop or a pre-clear,
Right.
stuff like that. And one stop, for those who listen, just means that, the music supervisor only has to go to one place to clear it. They don't have to go to 4 or 5 different, if you work with collaborators. That's the other
Right.
thing, you know what I'm saying? So, most people work with collaborators. So if you don't have that collaboration agreement in place that allows that person to be able to pre-clear it in one stop, then that becomes a problem. Because the minute somebody says no, with Houston, we have a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
you don't want to run into those situations, because then the ugly term of blackball comes in. People don't
Yep.
trust you, and then
Yep.
that kind of fucks it up for everybody
It
else.
really does. And then like if one person like doesn't trust you, they're telling their friends about you. Like, don't
Right.
work with this person. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want bad blood on your name.
Nah, for sure. Because I just think that, um, I just think that could really, really mess up your relationships. Another thing too, just because you get a bunch of stuff placed don't mean the check coming right away either. I think a lot of people feel like,
Oh
oh,
my god.
you got it placed. Oh, wait, give me the like. You might not see a check for 6 months or a year or whatever. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So
And it's
then,
not consistent across different. I've been in sync and I've gotten syncs through a lot of different avenues, different music supervisors, different shows, different libraries. Like everybody's payout schedule is different. Like
right,
even if I got 3 placements with the same music supervisor, but they were across different networks, and each
okay,
network had a different payment schedule.
mm-hmm.
So, and this is for upfront money. You know what I'm saying? And we call it upfront, but I didn't get the money until after the show aired,
Yeah,
like within 90 days. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So and then you still have to wait, like you're saying, that 6 to 9 months for the royalty check to come or the publishing check to come from your
yeah,
PRO.
yeah.
So yeah, the money isn't always upfront like they
Right,
say it is.
right, right.
Yeah. And you got to be patient. That's another thing when trying to get these placements. You don't want to be a bugaboo or on the music supervisor in their email every 5 minutes trying to figure out where the money at. You got to trust that they're going to send you your money.
Yeah, the contractually, they're sign an agreement. They have to pay you their money, because of course they get in trouble. So it's like,
Exactly.
so your money gonna come. It's just a matter of, you just gotta be patient. And that's another thing too. Like in this business, we have a term called, hurry up and wait.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Like,
Hurry up and create it and wait.
yeah, hurry up and wait, because you can have all your ducks in a row. Because in this business, you can't, in this industry, you can't open up every door by yourself. So
Right.
you have to wait on other people. Like, so you can have everything in order the way you want it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to get that door to open fast. And then another thing too is, you piss off the wrong person, and they cross. Oh, say who you working with? And I'll tell you, hey,
Mhm.
look, hey, I don't fuck with them, but hey,
Right. Right.
if you want to, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? So, because this really is a people industry, man. So like, you
Yeah.
gotta be really, really careful on on the people you surround yourself with. And look, I've had people who I thought were friends of mine in this business who turned out to not be that way. Doesn't
Mm,
happen all the time. It's very rare, because I feel like I'm a pretty good judge of character. But every once in a while, you're gonna meet people who you thought you were cool with, or were cool with at one point, and then
yeah.
ain't cool with them. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So it happens. It
Yeah.
unfortunately it happens, because sometimes people are just people, and in this business, not everybody has the right integrity, the right intention or integrity when it comes to keeping your relationship solid. I believe in keeping your name clear. You don't
Ab-
you don't know. Ron Michael Cox said this one time. He said, it's how people treat you when you ain't hot, is how it's really what it's all about. When you hot, of course, everybody gonna be calling you. It's what happens when you ain't hot no more. You cooled off a little bit. Those are gonna tell you the real relationships that you got. Because to me,
yeah.
a relationship means I call you and you pick up the phone, versus I could network with you one time and we met, but that doesn't necessarily mean we have a relationship yet.
Right.
You,
Absolutely.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really big on you know, a relationship building and things of that nature, and really kind of diving into that. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
Integrity is key, and everybody don't have it. So you got
for
to be
sure,
careful.
for sure. Talk to me about your book, PTO Pray Time Off.
Yeah.
Because of living in your true. I wrote a book myself called More Than a Hobby. You know, encourage and inspire. Basically, my book was centered around like my journey in the music industry, having a disability, and like how I had to kind of navigate that space. So,
Mm.
you know, talk to me about what your book is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. PCO paid time off. I wrote it in 2019, I believe is when
Okay.
yeah, I wrote it, released it in 2020. And it's about how I quit my job, like to do music full time, but more importantly, just like the steps leading up to it. Cause as entrepreneurs, or if you want to be an entrepreneur, you never really feel like, yes, I'm ready to do this and I'm going to quit my job now.
Mhm.
So like people are always, how did you know? Like, I quit my job. People are like trying to buy me lunch. I want to pick your brain. What did you do? And at this point, I didn't have any sync placements. I wasn't DJing. So it wasn't like I got a major opportunity. I think people thought something major happened. I had the money and I could quit my job. And I was like, nah, that's not what happened. Like, it was a leap of faith. And I
Mhm.
just realized there was like so much demand for that information for, just my journey and how I prepared and how I knew God was calling me off of my job at that
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
So, and I say it's about living in your true purpose, because like just because you're good at something or just because you can do something doesn't mean that that's what your purpose to do. And you
Yeah.
have to kind of align like what you're passionate about with what you feel like you were created to
Mm.
do.
Yeah.
And that's what the book kind of goes into, my journey of that. And it's applicable even if you're not an entrepreneur, because everybody should be living in their purpose.
Yeah, kind of the same premise of why I wrote my book is because so many people, especially with special needs, who have a desire to be in the who to be in the industry, and not everybody can move to LA. They can move to other places around the country that are
Hmm.
geared, because not everybody has, I couldn't do it, you know what I'm saying? So I want to write the book as an inspiration, and to tell people, hey, look, I found a way, but my path might not be the same as your path, but if I could just be an inspiration to somebody who wants to, then that's all you can really do, because I know how difficult it is.
Yeah.
you
And
know.
that's like big what you're saying. Like it's important to share your journey, even if the next person's journey isn't going to be identical, but
Mm-hmm.
like them reading about how you did it and your thought process, it'll spark their mind like, oh, let me think outside the box, or let me try to do it this way, or you know what I'm saying? Even if it's not the same exact path, it's not a blueprint. That's what I tell people. Like my book is not a blueprint. It's just a case study, and study this case and see what applies to you. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it sounds like your book was too. So
Nah,
good.
for sure, no, for sure. Um, that definitely what it is. I think because that's definitely I wrote it definitely on kind of those same lines. Not a blueprint, definitely not, because
Right.
there's no straight line to success.
Right.
I don't think in anything we do in life. I think in any industry there's no straight line to success. If there was, everybody would go down the same straight line. So there
Exactly.
isn't a straight line to any. You have to make sacrifices. You have to, understand that things are going to happen that are unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And you got to learn how to pivot accordingly. And especially in this business, you got to chase your money down, because
Yeah.
just because somebody just because somebody will sign your agreement does not mean. I'm sure you've had to chase your money. We all
Yeah.
do. Everybody
Yeah.
does. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, whereas like people, just because they say they're gonna pay on time, don't necessarily mean they do. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Hmm.
So there's all kind of things that you just have to kind of be ready for, coming into this space. So
And there's even an etiquette to chasing your money down.
yeah,
Like, because at the end of the day, you're still not trying to burn any bridges in the industry.
nah,
You
yeah,
don't want to just assume malice on anybody's part.
right,
Like
right,
when you reach out to chase the money down, like don't do it with an attitude like, hey, where my money at? You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right, right,
Like,
right, right.
hey, I'm not, just checking in on this because I know this is a
Exact,
on this
ex,
page. and
exactly. No,
I'm just
that's how
wondering
I.
when can I expect the payment? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, just be professional. Keep it like professional. It's business. It's not personal. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
and keep it that way. That's how you keep your name good.
Nah, that's how I do. Look, you just gotta look. You're right. Look, I only dealt with a bad apple a couple of times. Because here, the issue that I ran into was, look, if you have a problem with me, whatever, but when you start going on social media to purposely and publicly bash me, that's a problem. Because
Yeah.
when you have, look, you had a bad experience with me, okay, whatever. Like I have enough equity built up with people that I'm not gonna. One bad experience isn't gonna tarnish my name. But when you're publicly going on the social media, where you can contact me privately, that's
Right.
you're purposely trying to damage my brand and my name. I
Right.
have
Right.
a problem with that
Exactly.
because don't yeah. So
And then like I'm a firm believer in like you reap what you sow. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? Like even if you feel like you're in the right for how you feel about somebody,
mhm.
like and how the business transaction went, like when you post publicly and start slandering people, like you just like open your life up to that type of like energy. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And like you never
exactly.
know, like that person, it could have just been an honest mistake, or you
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
and you didn't even try to reach out like to that
Right,
person and just handle it like, going to the
right.
internet is crazy.
No, it is, but those people ultimately ended up being bad apples. They're just bad people,
Yeah.
and usually stuff like that because a person with good intention is not going to do that.
Right.
If we have a problem, we're going to handle it. We're going to handle it privately. We're going to deal with it accordingly, and no one's ever going to have to know about it. But
Exactly.
and these people I'm talking about, I'm not mentioning their names obviously purposely, but it's like they've done this to other people, and I just found out a lot of I just found out a lot of things about these people that is like, okay, that's probably why things happen the way they happen for you because you're out here doing bad business and treating people horribly.
Yep. And
You
that's
know
the
what
thing.
I'm saying?
Like, if you are going to do it to one person, you've done it to multiple people. And that's another reason why, like, like in that scenario from your side, like, you don't even got to go online and reciprocate that energy. You don't got to like say nothing. You don't got to defend yourself because, like you said, they've done this to multiple people. So they're looking like the common denominator. So you don't even got to worry about it.
Right, right. So you're exactly right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, when that type of stuff happens, I just gotta be like, look, I'm done with these people.
Right.
You know, and then you start to make threats and situation like, no.
Mm-mm.
I can't do it. I cannot do that. That is not. That
It's not
is
that deep. It's never that deep.
exactly.
Yeah.
No, so no, it's really about just doing right by people and making sure that because at the end of the day, all you really have is your word. All you really have is your yeah your word and can people trust you to do the things you say you're going to do? And I'm a big believer in I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. I agree.
yeah. And like I said, when I met you, I knew you was A1 because I mean, you know what I'm saying? I just knew. You know when people are A1 because, especially when they're in circles about people that I trust. If I know you in a circle with somebody who I trust, then
Hmm.
it's almost like you're vouched for because
Yeah.
you already cool with people that I'm cool with, and then I know are a good judge of the character. So I don't got to worry about is this person going, you know what I'm saying? So I knew once we connected, yeah, that she my type of people,
Yeah, yeah, for
you know.
sure.
So
Well,
yeah,
thank you.
no, for sure, for sure. Um, so how do you maintain creativity and passion when sometimes things can get so overwhelming? Because I know, look, like I said,
Oh my God.
as a woman in this business, it's just different. It's kind of like when you're dealing with from the artist perspective, right? But there's a lot of people who don't like to work with female artists because there's a lot that comes with that. For instance, if you're going on a promotional tour with a female artist, you can't put her in a room with a bunch of niggas and be like, yo, just figure it out. You can't do that because
Nope.
why? You need your own room.
Yep.
You need your own bathroom. You need
Yep.
all. And you could be cool with these cats. They could be the homie. They could be, but it was like because when you on a promo run, like you ain't staying in the best of the best spots. You ain't
Right.
like you like so when you have a woman around, it's you have to just act differently. You can't do the typical guy stuff you do when a woman is in the crew. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Yeah. Nah, yeah, it's yeah. Everything you said, I don't even really need to add nothing to it. You pretty much covered
You
that.
know what
Like
I'm
it's
saying? So
different for sure. Like I
you
don't want to
know,
be in a room with other people or like you need your own space. Like you said, your own bathroom, all of that. Definitely not in a room with a bunch of people like guys. Like
yeah,
absolutely not. Like
nah, nah,
so yeah, you're right
yeah.
about that. But as far as like maintaining creativity when
Hmm.
things become overwhelming,
Hmm.
I know like for me, I do a lot like between sync licensing, production, I have a book, I have a
Hmm.
movie, and I DJ. Like, so on top of that, you have to be, like you said, a marketer, a content creator, an
Yeah.
administrator, it's a lot, a secretary, a
Hmm.
treasurer. It's like you play all of these different roles. And
Hmm.
like for me, the very first thing that I knew I loved to do was production. But at this point, it falls to the bottom of the list right now of stuff that I
Yeah.
have to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so it's funny you asked that. Like this week is the first week that I've been able to really just sit down and lock in and produce this year. Like I haven't produced
Mm.
since like December. And it's
Mm.
because other things have just taken priority. Now, granted, I have a bunch of back catalog of music that I've already created that I'm actively pitching for
Mm.
sync.
Mm.
But it's like I haven't sat down to be able to create some new stuff in a while. And I was just like I just need to, I was feeling like the bug. Like I need to sit down and create something. It's been too
Right.
long.
Right.
So and then like you sit down and it's like it all just comes out immediately.
Yeah.
Like yeah, like you could tell it's been a while. So just maintaining creativity. I think you have to live life though to get those experiences to be able to have something to draw from when you sit down to create.
Right.
Like if I
Yeah.
was just sitting in a house producing all day every day, I don't know if I would have as much to draw from.
Hmm.
But now I done DJ'd all these different types of events. I've been around all these people. I've been speaking at these music events. It's just it's you experience life and it gives you something to draw from. So that's how I feel like you maintain creativity.
I love it. I love it, man. I mean, I've loved this has been just a great conversation, and
It has.
I think a lot of gems have been
Yeah.
dropped in this to help people, especially women who want to be in this business because it is different. It just is, because this is not like corporate entertainment and corporate. It doesn't work the same. It's just different rules.
Mm-hmm.
It's just different things you just have to be okay with. And again, surround yourself with the right people. When you surround yourself with people who have integrity and who know when it comes to business. Like like one of my mentors, you may know him, Leslie Brathwaite.
Mm-hmm.
Who's an audio engineer, mix engineer, mix most recently Cowboy Carter. I mean, he's been in the game a long time anyway. Leslie, because Leslie's, 'cause I graduated from Full Sail University, so he's a Full Sail grad and a mentor of mine. And he has a rule even when it comes to female students. He's never in the room alone
Right.
with a with a female. I think this is general rule, especially with a student. And if it goes past a certain time, though, you got to go.
Yeah.
Come back tomorrow because the perception can be and nothing gonna happen, but just the wrong
Yeah.
perception goes in, and then the word travels fast, and next thing you know, they're being accused of something
Mm-hmm.
that you did not do,
Yep.
all because somebody wants to ruin your life. Somebody wants to make that's a very real thing. So you have
Yeah.
got to be aware of that when it happened to me.
Mm.
It happened to me. Look, so I'll tell you the story because it's passionate. I mentor, I mentor young people. That's one
Mm-hmm.
thing I love doing. So as a Full Sail grad, I mentor kids. So I was. This is back in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So I get an email from at the time my program manager, like the school that I graduated in. She sends me an email on mentorship, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm in Toro. Cool. What do you want to talk about? So then they proceed the next couple of days. They want to have a meeting with me, and I knew it was weird because they want to have somebody sitting in on the call who I didn't even know about
Mm.
and ask me about certain things. And then they basically said that I tried to. There's something along the lines of I made a student feel uncomfortable because what it came down to was a young girl wanted me to learn how to when it comes to manage artists. So I didn't charge her any money, gave
Mm,
her 2 hours of my time for free, showed her
mm,
my private contract things that I do, and she then after she gave me glowing testimonial, all the type of stuff. Turns out she went back to the school and tried to throw me under the bus to get run over. And they wanted to ban me from ever. I'm like, all the time I get back to Full Sail University for free of my own time. Thank God I was there to clear my name. And even the people say like that should have never happened. It should have never happened. And it just shows you the people, some people, and she may not have been thinking, but it's like, you're gonna throw me under the bus to get run over. Once she's a legal adult, so I wasn't breaking the law of any kind of, I wasn't doing anything wrong. But when you do stuff like that to potentially jam somebody up on purpose, like
mhm.
that can happen.
Yeah,
That,
that's unfortunate. Yeah.
yeah,
And you just gotta be careful, like you said, like with that professor, like you can't even put yourself in a position to make it look like anything for anybody to be able to even say anything. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like that would
You
be
can't,
extra
you can't
hard.
because people will jam you up.
Mhm,
You know what I'm saying? They will
mhm,
jam you up even when it seems like you didn't do anything wrong. I know at the time of this recording, we got the Diddy trial going on, a lot of
mhm,
things going on. And look,
mhm.
I one of those people where like I try to be objective, and I said that I think Cassie was a willing participant in a lot of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And
I
so,
disagree to
you
disagree.
know what I'm saying?
I don't know. Like at the end of the day, like I wasn't there, so I don't know. But I just it's all too crazy. Like
It's crazy, but and of course, when we see who the reports on the trial, I'm not saying that Diddy ain't a despicable human. What I'm
mm,
saying is that what you're trying him for, and not necessarily what he did. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the difference when it comes to the law. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, racketeering and conspiracy is much different from domestic abuse. If he beat the shit out of her, then okay, that's one thing, but that's not what he's on trial for. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? You know what I'm saying? So
mhm,
it's like when it comes to, yeah, I don't think somebody should go to prison for the rest of their life because of what's perceived to happen, like what actually happened. You know what I'm saying? And because
mhm.
that's somebody. I'm not saying. Look, I ain't saying that Diddy. I've always felt like Diddy had a God complex anyway. I felt like he had this God complex that he felt like he was untouchable, and clearly he isn't untouchable, right? But I also think that was from a time of the industry where you could do that. You could make people feel that way, right? Because you feel like, well, he's Diddy, like I need to get close to him because he could change my life.
Mm,
Versus now in the industry with social media, you don't necessarily need a Diddy or
mm,
need a Jay-Z or
mm.
need somebody with a big nut to put you quote unquote on, right? So it's a different era now. But back in those times, you would he don't like people would you're gonna do what you're gonna do if you think this person's gonna be able to help you. I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's right. I ain't saying it's right, but people gonna think about it. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, people still think about it to this day. Like, I
Yeah.
think that that's like a true statement. I
You,
think it also just goes both ways. Like, sometimes people get in over their heads. Sometimes they think it's one thing and then they get in there and it's something different and more extreme than what they expected. And now it's too late and they feel like they can't get out. So
yeah,
I
that's
think
real. Yeah, that's
it go
real.
both ways. Like,
That's
so
real. That's real. No, I think that happens a lot in the music industry. I think it's really smoke and mirrors when you get into this space, right? And it's drug, sex, and rock and roll.
but that's, I mean, like all of that being said, like that's why it's important to be grounded in something other than just trying to get famous or trying to,
Right,
and
right,
like you said, like having like people in this industry having God complexes, and then worse, other people, you know what I'm saying, like feeding into it. Like they're not God.
right,
At the end of the
right,
day, God
right,
is God and God
right,
alone. And if
right.
that's who you serve, He's the ultimate plug. He's the source, and He can use anybody He needs to be the resource. So you don't have to do anything ungodly to get what you need if you're
Right.
focused on doing what God has planned for you to do anyway.
I love that. No, because it's so true. Because it's so true. Because people really feel like, and that same thing kind of happened with R. Kelly. Like, people feeling like, man, and a lot of times, too, what they don't realize is that celebrity name is usually not the decision maker. You know, a
Mm.
lot of times the decision maker in the industry, right? Because we didn't talk about this part. You got the music industry, you got the music business, and you got the business of music.
Mm.
It's three different things. And
Mhm.
most people are chasing the music industry, not
Right.
realizing you could be in the music business and not necessarily have to be caught up inside of the music industry.
Right.
And as long as you understand the business of music, right? So I
Exactly.
think so many people to this day are still chasing the glitz and the glam of the music industry. And
Mhm.
really, when you chasing the music industry, basically what you're saying is, asking for permission. Do you think I'm good enough based on what you think it is? Not
Mm.
based off what the people. Because at the end of the day, going back to the fans, if the fans tell you, if your supporters tell you you're good, that's what you need. The industry,
Mhm.
who cares what the industry said? If the people love what you're doing, that's what it's all about, in my opinion. You
Mhm. Absolutely. I
know,
agree.
so I think a lot of people to this day chasing the fame, the chase, and that stuff is fleeting, man.
It is.
That
Absolutely.
stuff is fleeting, man. It's about surrounding yourself with real people, good
Yeah.
people, integral individuals,
Yeah.
like yourself, who have good character and you know right away. I knew even the way you carry yourself, the way you come dressed, you know, like what I'm saying, like just little things, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like people could tell, you could just tell about people that are just decent humans, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Yeah.
most importantly, like, are you a good human? And I think a
Right.
lot of times in this bit, gonna go back to the dating thing. I think a lot of what he's going to do is learn behavior. I don't think you come into the space that way. I think you get around people, and when you get to a certain level of fame and fortune and money, people just live a different lifestyle.
Mm.
And so you don't mean to get gobbled up in that, but it just kind of happens. And
Mhm.
before you know it, it's like, yo, who am I? You know what I'm saying? What happened?
Yeah.
And so that's why you gotta be very careful on what you even allow yourself to be a part of, because
Exactly.
it can happen. It can happen to any of us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
yeah, man, this has been such a great conversation. Before we get out of here, how can people get connected to you? And things of that nature. How can they connect and all that?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. You can follow me on Instagram at London Elixir. That's Elixir, and then the letter L, the letter X. My TikTok is London Elixir. Website, LondonElixir.com. Everything you need, even if you want to watch the Sink or Swim film, like that's the link is in my bio for that on Instagram to follow the Sink or Swim Instagram page as well. So yeah, if you want to book me to be a DJ, link in my bio on Instagram and TikTok as well. So whatever you need, London Elixir.
Very cool, guys. Look, this has been another great episode. One of my favorite I've done, in a long time. I love all my guests, but this has
Yeah,
just been so much fun.
it has
Uh,
been. Thank you for having me. I
it's,
appreciate you
it's,
asking me to come on the show.
it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure, guys. Until next time, it's your host, Durell Peart, and I'm out of here. Peace.